the MythBusters, Adam Savage.
That was awesome!
And Jamie Heineman.
Mush.
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience.
Rise, my son.
Joining them, Grant Imahara.
Warning!
Tori Belleci.
It's getting dangerous now, and that's how we like it.
And Carrie Byron.
That is messed up!
They don't just tell the myths.
Wow, I can feel the pressure.
They put them to the test.
Welcome to MythBusters. We have a fantastic show planned for you today.
Adam, why are you carrying that book, and what makes this show so fantastic?
Well, let us go ahead and go to our viewers, because they have submitted a great question.
Hey Mythbusters, my friends at school have been really giving me a hard time for following Jesus. They really mock me and make a claim that Jesus was just some kind of Jew, and even though he was a good teacher, that is it and nothing more. Can you guys explore this myth and tell me whether or not Jesus was just a good teacher, or if there's something more than that? Is Jesus just a Jew, or is he the Messiah that was to come?
Adam, this is such a huge topic. How are we going to begin to answer this?
Well, Jamie, we're definitely going to need to dig into the facts on this one. We might even have to call in some experts.
Adam, don't hit me with that.
Yes.
Good morning, Dr. Lewis.
Good morning, Jamie. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Good.
My friend and I are just working on this Jesus fellow. I heard that, well, there's just a lot of controversy surrounding him. Is he a Jew, or is he the Messiah that was to come?
It's a good question. Why don't you take a seat? We may be here a little while.
All right, thank you.
No problem. Well, to tell you a little bit about myself, I was actually born a Jew. I went to the synagogue every Saturday, just as Jews are supposed to do.
So how did you ever become a Christian?
Well, actually it took a long time. You see, I began to lose my faith when my parents got a divorce. I was 17 at the time, and I got drafted to Vietnam. They told us that 20% of us would get killed, and the other 80% would come back scared with a drug addiction. Thankfully, I came back, but I definitely was addicted. When I got back, I began to look at all the major religions of the world. Shintoism, Buddhism, Hinduism. I even looked at some of the satanic cults. Oh, and did I mention? I was doing more and more drugs every single day.
So how did you ever begin to turn your life around?
One day, I went to visit a preacher, just for some kicks, and make fun of him and laugh at him. However, the minister gave me a Bible, and he challenged me to read the Old Testament with an open mind concerning the Messiah. So I did, and I found some passages like, "The Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me from among your own brothers. You must listen to him, for this is what you asked of the Lord your God at Horeb on the day of the assembly, when you said, 'Let us not hear the voice of the Lord our God, nor see the great fire any more, or we will die.' The Lord said to me, 'What they say is good. I will raise up for them a prophet like you from among their brothers. I will put my words in his mouth, and he will tell them everything I command him. If anyone does not listen to my words, that the prophet speaks in my name, I myself will call him to account." As I read the passage, I thought, how could anyone be possibly greater than Moses? But I kept on reading. "See, my servant will act wisely. He will be raised and lifted up and highly exalted. Just as there were many who were appalled at him, his appearance was so disfigured beyond that of any man, and his form marred beyond human likeness. So he will sprinkle many nations, and kings will shut their mouths because of him. For what they were not told, they will see, and what they have not heard, they will understand. He was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and familiar with suffering, like one from whom men hide their faces. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he took up our infirmities, and carried our sorrows. Yet we considered him stricken by God, smitten by him, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was upon him, and by his wounds we are healed. After the suffering of his soul, he will see the light of life and be satisfied. By his knowledge, my righteous servant will justify many, and he will bear their iniquities. Therefore, I will give him a portion among the great, and he will divide the spoils with the strong, because he poured out his life unto death, and was numbered with the transgressors. For he bore the sins of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. Instantly, I knew that they were talking about Jesus. I turned to the New Testament and saw that the prophecy was fulfilled. Eventually, I became a Christian, and look at me now. I'm following Christ, and I'm no longer a druggie.
Well, thank you, Dr. Lewis, for your story about how you became a Christian and how the Old Testament helps to prove to you that Jesus was the Messiah. It's going to be really helpful as we move on. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Adam, Dr. Lewis had a lot of good things to say about Jesus as the Messiah. What did you find?
First off, that's great, Jamie. And while you were gone, I did some research of my own. And it involves coins.
Coins?
Well, Jamie, I found that the probability for just 8 prophecies concerning Jesus to be fulfilled would be about 1 chance in 100 million billion.
Is that even a real number, Adam?
Yes, Jamie, that is a real number. Just to give you a clue, that number is millions of times greater than all the people who have ever walked the earth. In fact, if you were to take this many silver dollars, they would cover the state of Texas 2 feet high. Then, if you marked 1 silver dollar among them, and then had a blindfolded person wander the whole state, and then bent down to pick up 1 coin, what would be the odds that he would choose the specifically marked one? The answer, Jamie, is the same probability that just 1 man could fulfill just 8 of these prophecies. Yet there is so much more. Peter W. Stoner, a mathematician, calculated that the probability of fulfilling 48 prophecies was 1 chance in a trillion, 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 trillion. Basically, that is about equal to the number of atoms in several universes.
Adam, now I know you're just making up numbers.
No, I'm not, Jamie. This is true.
You know, Adam, in my own research, I found that there are about 300 prophecies about Jesus that were fulfilled. But even so, there's a lot of skeptics that say that Jesus could have just read those in the Bible himself and then fulfilled them.
And that is a really challenging point, Jamie. Let's go ahead and look at some of the other prophecies that Jesus did. Think about this, Jamie. 1. How could this Jesus guy have arranged his ancestry? 2. How could he have made sure that John the Baptist prepared his way? 3. How could he have ensured that Judas got 30 pieces of silver coin when he was betrayed? 4. How could he have made sure that the Roman soldiers gambled for his clothing instead of dividing it up like they normally did? 5. How could he have made sure that his legs weren't broken? 6. How could he have arranged his resurrection in the first place? And 7. There is no way that he could have chosen where he was born.
So, Adam, you're talking about Micah 5:2. But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For out of you will come a ruler who will be the shepherd of my people Israel. Well, Jesus could have read and fulfilled some prophecies, but that list you just provided, Adam, there's no way he could have fulfilled those on his own, just by figuring it out or something.
Well, Jamie, it seems much easier to believe that Jesus fulfilled these prophecies because he was actually the Messiah. But before we settle this issue, we should consult another expert.
It's a good idea.
So I sent Jamie to listen to someone discuss that Jesus was the Messiah, and that is just what he did.
And that's why those two disciples on the road to Emmaus, when Jesus, after his resurrection, explained to them what was happening, Jesus said, "O foolish ones, and slow of heart to believe in all that the prophets have spoken. Ought not the Christ to have suffered these things and to enter into his glory?" And beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he expounded to them in the scriptures the things concerning him. Jesus Christ pulled the throne of David with one hand and grasped the picture of the suffering servant with the other and brought them together at the cross and brought life and immortality to light through the gospel. Jesus Christ, Ha Christos, the anointed, the Messiah.
Well, Jamie, I have to tell you, I'm really excited about this workshop that you went to. Go ahead and tell me about it.
There were a lot of good things, Adam, a lot of good things. And I gotta say, I think Jesus is the prophesied Messiah. There's just no way around it. The facts point to it. That's just the way it is. So where does that leave us with our viewer's question?
Jamie, I'm really ready to put a done stamp on this one.
Well then, let's go ahead and call this Myth Confirmed.
And don't email me about this one.
Adam, I've been getting a lot of viewer email and, those little web postings about how great my hat looks.
No, it doesn't.